Good morning. How are you? Happy Sunday morning. It's cold. It's getting to a point where there's no no good reason to mention it because it's just going to be cold and get colder. It's not so bad right now. On a Sunday, what do we think of? Here's a passage that I think makes sense. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or clanging cymbal. We see a lot of that these days. Now, I'm thinking of the social spending bill, the one that, may take to Christmas or never happen at all on the Senate side. And there are two forces within the Christian community as I see it. And one identifies with the notion of social justice, good works. If the gospel means good tidings, then shouldn't it also mean good works? And that's what the Sermon on the Mount's all about. Don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily invoking the deity for myself, but the debate is supposedly about the teachings and discourse of churches and temples and so forth. And frankly, some do better than others. Now, I was taught as a Jesuit, and the one thing that still has a hold on me, is the notion of social justice. And when I've appeared in churches and so forth, I don't participate in the discussions about divinity and resurrection and miracles and that kind of thing. But I do discuss what I think is what humanity is all about, which is social justice, caring for one another. Now, Manchin is a Roman Catholic, and I think we should point out the hypocrisy when people go too far about who they are and what they are. He's a Christian, but he opposes Medicare in a state that has terrible medical attention. It ranks among the lowest in all these categories. And so if he cared about his people in a Christian way, the way he says he is, then he would care to support Medicare, which is in the bill that's coming from the House to the Senate, and he's already spoken out against that. Now, how can you be against that? Particularly when it's going to come out of funds that they say is going to mean that the bill pays for itself. So here we have Manchin, the poseur of Christianity, opposed to health. Now, the Sermon on the Mount talks about the sick. So what is that about? Now, the Christians who are joining together saying, we should pass this bill. This will help the people. This is not just charity. This will enliven our economy. That this will take care of the poor. Now, we have other Christians who are out there saying that, well, if this pre-kindergarten and childcare goes into effect, what about what we're doing? They're thinking of themselves as competitors, as if there isn't enough of a problem to require all hands on deck to take care of it. They also are upset if they accept money in the new program, which is for these programs, then they won't be able to discriminate because the discrimination laws will apply. Now that's a beauty. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Funds may go to parochial schools. I don't know what they'll do about religious teaching in school, but it is disconcerting, the hypocrisy level, when you get near a buck and you get near legislation, how these people shed their identities, ignore their discourses and their scripture. And the ones who are faithful, the ones that are truly faithful, are talking about helping the poor and the sick, helping us all to be represented and to be treated as equals and not to discriminate. So that's part one of, as I think about it, standing here walking, that's part one of my sermon on the walk. Among my cathedral of trees without leaves, but they're still out here. Now, the second thing that I think I'm going to expand upon in my podcast today, and I haven't all the pieces in my mind, but I think it'll go something like this. If you took an oath of office, congressman or senator or president, to uphold the Constitution, and then you supported an insurrection and an uprising, then I say that we should be able to invoke the 14th Amendment, the third section of that amendment, which originally was directed at Southern officers and generals and so forth who had fought in the Civil War, who took a new oath to support the government, and then were allowed, and this was highly controversial as you might expect, they were then allowed to participate in the new government after the Civil War, Reconstruction. So, who am I talking about? Well, let's go for Big Orange right off the bat. He took an oath to uphold. He opposed the election that he lost, saying he should be installed no matter what. He continues to tell that lie. Every state in the Union, theoretically, could bar him from being a candidate based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Now, let's look further. What do you think about Senator Hawley? I don't know if he's up this time, but whatever senator or congressman is up who participated in that affair, then he or she should be barred. Now, every member of Congress is up, and that means that the numbers identified from the House who persisted in supporting throwing out the vote of the electors, we should be throwing them out, and we should be barring them from being on the ballot. So elegant, don't you think? So we mix a little a little faith, a little politics, and we do it on a cold day among my cathedral of trees, and I think that's a nice matchup. The other stories strike me, and maybe you feel differently, but kind of the old stuff. You know, we could go back to Rittenhouse and so forth, but we've said it already. Feds prosecute them, and family members go after them for wrongful death actions. All the best. Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.